Today I've got some pretty quick crafts for you guys. For this one, I have this sign from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to sand off as much of this glitter as I can and then give it a couple of coats of ivory chalk paint. The frame on this is made of MDF and the wood finish is fake, but this water-based gel stain does a good job of staining it anyway. And that is in my Amazon store. Link to that is in the description box. This will be a free printable in the description box if you're interested. I just designed that on Photoshop for you guys. And I'm just going to Mod Podge it to the sign here, and it's not quite tall enough. It is wide enough. This is, just a regular size piece of cardstock here, 8.5 by 11. But I will be covering up those gaps at the top and bottom. I did distress around the edges with a pretty dry brush with some antique wax. And then I trimmed out the top and bottom with this lace trim from the Dollar Tree. Sorry I was out of frame there, but I just hot glued that on. This is just a quick reminder that if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. That way you don't miss any future videos. And if you click the notification bell, YouTube will notify you when I upload a new video. I have quite a few of these medium-sized bottle brush trees, and I really do not know what to do with them. I use the really small ones fairly often in different little scenes that I make. But these larger ones, I just don't know what to do with them. So I'm going to start trying to transform them because I have quite a few of them and I've just got to get them out of my Christmas crafting tub. So I've got a couple of different kinds of berries here, some from Walmart. I've got some from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to, and they're different sizes as well and different shades of red, and some of them have some snow on them and some of them don't. So I'm just going to simply hot glue these berries to the tree, and I do pick off some of these smaller foam berries to go on the top because I didn't think that the larger berries would work on the very top of the tree. I like the look of the different types of berries, but of course you might like a more cohesive look and doing them all in the same size and the same color. I think that would look very nice as well. It might even look better. I have this berry mix floral here from Walmart, and I'm going to paint the leaves a darker green. But I did realize after handling these a good bit that white sort of dusting on them comes off if you just wipe it away with your hands. Or what, you could use like a baby wipe or, a paper towel even. It wiped away really easily, and then underneath that white powder was darker green leaves. So you could paint them like I did, or you could just simply clean off that white powder to make them look a darker, more Christmassy color. Now the smaller leaves I left as is, and the larger ones I cut down a little bit. And I also, while I was at it, cut them into the shape of holly leaves. And I darkened up the base with antique wax. There is lots of Christmas crafting to come this year. But if you are ever needing a break from the Christmas crafts, I just want to let you guys know that if you go to my channel and click on playlist, there's a playlist titled Everyday Decor, and that's just videos where I made regular decor crafts. So they're not, holiday themed or anything. They're just regular. They're all, in my style, a little bit of an older look, a vintage look, but I just want to let you guys know that if you're needing a break, I could never need a break from Christmas, but I know, I could see that if you're watching a lot of Christmas crafting, needing a break. So I just want to let you guys know about that. I've got this Christmas ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and I'm not crazy about it, the way it looks. I think if I was ever going to use it, I would probably darken it up with some antique wax or tea stain it. But I thought I would use it for experimenting on this craft that I've never done before. A lot of y'all have probably made a bow like this before, but I haven't ever. And so I thought I would give it a try. You just need to cut down 7 lengths of the ribbon at least, and depending on how full you want your bow to be, 3 longest ones, 3 a little bit shorter, and then 1 really small one for that piece in the very center of the bow. And it's not super easy to describe how I'm folding it, but you can see there what I'm going for. Just wrapping one end and then the other to match it, and then you want each the 3 lengths to be the same once you've got them folded and glued, and then the other 3 lengths as well to be about the same size of your little loops here. And you could stack them and staple them if you wanted to, but I'm using hot glue for this. It was very quick and easy to use it for that. It's right here that I'm realizing that this ribbon is a little too narrow, that I needed more loops for this one. I think if your ribbon was wider, then you wouldn't need as many loops, as many sections of the bow. This is more like, a dollar store bow. I don't know if it was the same for y'all or if y'all noticed this, but I remember when I was little, if you had a bow that was real sparse and just had a few loops, that was what most of us had. But it's like people that were more well off, they had the real big bows that had a bunch of loops in them. I know that sounds like something small to notice and silly, but I remember that as a kid thinking, oh wow, look at the bows on their presents, they have so many loops. I've got this thrifted ribbon here, and it's from a long time ago, you can tell, because it was 99 cents for the roll originally, and then it was on sale. I don't even know what store that is, Frank's. I don't think I've ever been or heard of that store, but it was 3 for 99 cents, on sale. So wouldn't that be nice to pay that price now? This one obviously isn't a Christmas bow, but I love this ribbon. I thought it would make a cute bow, and it did. I've got this really old hymn book that I've been slowly using the pages on. It was in really rough shape when I got it. And I'm just going to cut some strips out of some of these pages and make a bow out of it. Now these are the very first 4 bows I've ever made like this style of bow. And so of course a couple of them just didn't, they weren't up to snuff. So I just tossed those. And this is definitely one of those things where the more you do it, the better your bows will look and the better you'll get at it. And you're using so little material that it would be very affordable to make some bows like this. I've got this little shelf sitter from the Dollar General, and it was originally $1, but I got it on clearance. I think I got it for 50 cents. I'm going to remove this little MDF piece on the front here, and the front will be the back of my piece, and I'm just going to sand that smooth, and I will paint that brown later. I'm not too worried about how the back looks, but I will paint it brown later. So I'm going to use the back as the front, and I've got this rice paper that I got I'm pretty sure I got it from Kathy Jo. So thank you, Kathy Jo, if you're watching. But I just wanted to show you that there's something very similar in style on the Graphics Fairy website. And I will put the link to that, these 14 cardinal pictures. I'll put a link to that in the description box of this video, but you can see that there is a very pretty wintry cardinal image there that you could download and print. I'm just going to Mod Podge that to the back of this little shelf sitter. And you can get printable rice paper if you wanted to print it on rice paper. I have a link. The link to my Amazon shop is in the description box. And I have some printable rice paper in there that I use that I like. I'm going to make a frame for this little piece just out of some air dry clay. And this mold is in my Amazon shop as well. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm getting better at this clay thing and putting the clay in the mold and getting it to release better. I thought, hey, I'm getting pretty good at this, but then I got humbled because then I struggled getting the glue out, and then there was a couple of cracks on the top of the frame where I bent it at such a sharp angle, but I knew from the beginning of making this little frame that it was going to be really rustic. That's kind of my style anyway, and I like that look. But you could definitely slow down and take your time and make the frame look more perfect. And I thought that where the pieces met up, what I should have done was just went with it and took a piece of clay and made a little trim piece to go over the seam. Instead of trying to make the seams match, just putting another little sort of rectangle trim piece over the clay where they met up, because they met up in the same spot on each side. But that was just hindsight, and it still turned out okay. I went over that before the clay dried with burnt umber acrylic paint, and then once that dried, I went over that with some gold leaf rub and buff. It's a little, it might be a little too rustic. There's a little bit of a wave in the clay there. I can see now looking at the picture. But, I mean, it's good enough for me, and I like things pretty rustic, but it does look like it's been through some things. I guess what it's been through is that it was made by me, but, I still like it. I still think it's definitely keepable. But I hope you guys liked these quick crafts this week. Sometimes I make crafts where they're pretty detailed and involved, and they're not super quick to make. So I thought it would be a good idea to make, at least one Christmas video where it's quicker crafts that you could make fairly quickly. But that's it for this one. I thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. See you in the next one.